WrestleZone presents Lost in the Midcard. Here are your hosts, Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black. Oh, yeah, baby. Welcome to the podcast where if you like blood, you got it. It's Lost in the Midcard. Welcome. Happy 10th of March. Happy Mario Day. Happy God, we're almost halfway through March. That's insane.
It's me, Mario.
It is. We've got ourselves a pay-per-view to talk about, a great one that had a very questionable ending. We'll get into that. Oh, boy. I know Matt's got a couple things to say about that.
Oh, we're going to get into it. I promise you we're going to get into it.
Yeah. So we have 4 hours of show there to talk about. Overall good show, though, I think.
Overall great show.
Yeah.
That could have been an all-timer show.
Yeah.
Had TK not dropped the ball.
Yeah. A little programming note. I've not actually told Matt this yet, but next week I'm going to be out of town. There may be a show.
Gee, thanks for telling me.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, live on air.
On the air, you bastard.
So we're going to have to play it by ear because I'm going to be out of town during the day. So we'll see what happens for a show. So stay tuned to us on Twitter at JB Huskers, at Raw F Showtime, at LATMC Podcast. Also, we're on Facebook as well, Lost in the Midcard. You can follow us there. And of course, if you see a pending live show on WrestleZone, that's where we're at on YouTube live every Monday. So what you got to do is search for WrestleZone, all one word. Hit that subscribe button. Find our videos in the live section. Give them thumbs ups. And if you're around from 7:10 Eastern, 6:10 Central, up till Monday Night Raw, join us in the chat live. We'd love to hear from you. As we have Ozzy, a high 82 in Arizona, no wind. We got up to 82 as well in Nebraska after we had a blizzard on Tuesday. We had a blizzard on Tuesday. We're at 82 today. I heard that we were like the second hottest area of the country today, which was insane. Mark Cho with our promotion there. Good job there. Thank you. Your new U.S. champion. No, wasn't he U.S. champion? He defended it against Nakamura, didn't he?
No, he won it from Nakamura.
Oh, did he win it again?
Two-time.
I was thinking for some reason
champion.
he was already champion again and he was defending it.
No, that's how bad the United States title picture has been on SmackDown. So
I think Mark Cho's talking about the Death Riders, but calling them Dick Riders instead.
That's our nickname for them.
Steven Chambers in the chat with the common theme: great pay-per-view, crappy ending. And then Amazon or AEW on Amazon Prime Video. Why did they drop the price? They didn't drop the price. AEW's pay-per-views have always been $50. So, or unless you travel to the UK with your VPN and go on Triller, then you can pay $25.
Well, apparently you can do that on Prime too. Apparently,
can you?
Apparently, they're discounted in the UK for Prime as well.
Well, so, I'm just gonna I
haven't tested that, but I heard people talking about it over the weekend. But I'm sticking with Triller because
that's where all my purchases
early on last night.
They had all the
consistent pay-per-view,
except for
as far as AEW goes,
except for the beginning of the night. But
like I said, we had some issues last night, but by midway through the second match, they fixed it, and I didn't have anything after that.
Well, I am your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter and the Blue Sky at JB Huskers. As always, my co-host. He is on the Twitter and Blue Sky at Raw F Showtime. Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing?
I am doing good. I wish I could say that I was doing great, but Tony Khan had to ruin my weekend, and we're going to talk about it.
You didn't listen to me when I said months ago that the title change may not happen until we see it at All In when we go to Texas.
Well, look, we all know that was the original plan. The original plan was they were going to do Mox and Darby at All In, and they were going to switch the title then. But here's the problem. The Death Rider storyline ain't working.
No.
It's terrible. And it's an anchor on AEW as a whole right now. It is time for Tony Khan to pivot out of this horrible Death Rider storyline and put the title on somebody else.
Pivot! Well, let's get into that show that happened last night. Right there it is, AEW Revolution from the Crypto.com arena, where that's the Lakers play, right? That's the old
it's the Staples Center. It will always
the
be
old
the Staples Center as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I forget. And then the new one where Raw and Netflix debuted, that's where the Clippers play, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And that's called, what is that called? I forget already. Is that so? Where the Chargers play.
I forget. I had it like a minute ago where it was, and now I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool arena.
It's a very cool arena. I question if LA really needed another arena. But them getting that arena allowed the Intuit Dome. That's what it's called.
The
Intuit Dome. But them getting that new arena in LA and WWE abandoning their exclusivity with crypto allowed AEW access into that building. So it all worked. Actually, it all worked out for AEW essentially. So
yeah,
Tony's wanted to be in that building for a long time. He's a big Laker fan. So,
yeah, and I'm sure the other side of the coin, the Clippers didn't like having to share with the Lakers, and vice versa.
Well, maybe if the Clippers didn't suck so bad, they'd have had their own arena years ago.
Well, I mean, they've been better than the past, but yeah, the past they were like the bottom feeders for a very long time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so that was a cool place though, the Intuit Dome.
It's a very cool arena.
Where they showed a lot of cool stuff with that debut on Netflix for sure.
They got all those LEDs on the chairs and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah. The pre-show had 3 matches here. Commander and Hologram beating Lee Johnson and Blake Christian. I wouldn't be surprised if you see them going for the tag titles on ROH. I think we're still headed to a meaty collision between the Murder Monsters and the Murder Machines and the Hurt Syndicate. And
that's what we should have gotten last night, but
yeah,
but I digress.
8-man tag, Daniel Garcia and the Undisputed Kingdom working together, defeating Shane Taylor Promotions. There was supposed to be a Jericho and Gravity match, but the Learning Tree beat him down.
Instead, yeah.
Yep, they beat him down. And
I didn't realize. Mask.
I thought Gravity was gone from AEW for some reason. So
no, I think he was just out hurt.
Yeah. Big boom, AJ. Boom, boom, boom. Again, always entertaining. This was, I caught this is the only pre-show match I caught. It was fun as expected, as we predicted on the show last week. Big Boom AJ and the conglomeration defeating Johnny TV and MXM. A lot of fun with that match, especially with everybody involved is very entertaining. And it's official. AJ announced it in the post show himself and Big Justice and the Rizzler are signed to an AEW contract now. So you're going to see a lot more from those guys, which, the WWE haters are going to hate on that. But hey, these guys bring the kids in, so to speak. The kids love these guys. So I think
with all the cross promotion WWE does, the tribalistic fans on either side have no room to talk.
They signed about
how AEW and WWE both do this same kind of shit.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Logan Paul. It's just the fact that Logan Paul is a good wrestler, actually, where these guys, AJ is obviously a past wrestler. He's a lot older, but the whole package is a very big YouTube hit. So, it's just like the signing of Logan Paul was a big deal because of his reach. And this is the exact same reason why these guys are being signed as well. And it's not like, AJ is, he used to be a wrestler, so he knows how to do things. Big Justice wants to be a wrestler, and I don't know how old he is. I think he's only 13, so he's a ways off. But we may see a Big Justice and -1 main event sometime in 2035, possibly. But let's see, he is he's only 11. Jeez. How old's -1? You remember? See, he's like 13 now.
I would assume at this point 12 or 13 years old, but don't hold me to that. I don't know.
Training. Is he training? Is he training with the Hearts with Natty? If I remember
yes,
right.
I have seen pictures with him at Natty and TJ's dungeon type facility.
Yeah. So you know that he's going to follow in his father's footsteps. Yeah, I don't know how old he is. If he's got to be probably no more than 13, could be maybe 14. Time flies because he hasn't been on TV much lately. So, yeah,
because there really hasn't been anything Dark Order related for him to do.
No, they just have not. They've been floating along. Unfortunately, I mean, they were on fire for a while and then just kind of floating along. The main card starting off with a bang. Hangman Adam Page against MJF. I thought this was a great opener. Obviously, it's been a great feud. There's been some great segments with these guys leading up to the match. It was a well put together feud with these guys. Obviously, Hangman Adam Page is probably one of the hottest commodities in AEW right now. So it was no surprise. I think we both picked Hangman to win, and they did the right thing and put the right guy over here with Hangman Page getting the win. A lot of sweet spots in this match. A couple of things that came to my mind. Hangman reversing a pile driver into the dead eye. That was pretty sweet. And then hitting the Angel's Wings, tribute to Christopher Daniels. Also a pretty sweet move there. Matt, what were your thoughts on the opener for AEW Revolution?
I thought this was a great way to kick off the show. I loved this match. I cringed at the tombstone steel chair spot on the outside, and I was just happy that Heyman didn't die.
In WWE, somebody would have died according to their rules with the pile driver.
It was a great match. The right man won. Very few people get a clean, straight up win over MJF and AEW.
Yeah.
And Hangman getting that win says a lot about how I believe AEW feels that his 2025 is going to play out.
Yeah.
So I thought the show started off on a great note, and this was a great match.
Next up for the TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné and Momo Watanabe. Very good, very, very physical match. I thought it went a little long, much like you thought the tag match went long. I thought this went a little long just because there's no doubt Mercedes was going to win here. I didn't think she had to steamroller because Momo's a good wrestler in her own right. But in terms of, she basically isn't a regular AEW performer. So there was no way to expect her to win this match. I thought, I thought it was good, but I thought it went a little too long. But Mercedes is continuing to kill it. I honestly, and I think I was wondering this the weeks leading up to this. I was wondering this, and now I'm almost kind of confirmed, or think it's confirmed. But it sounds like the next feud's going to be Billy Starks, which I'm excited for if that's the case, Matt.
This begins the slow build to, in my opinion, Mercedes Moné and Athena at All In. And I think Athena will win the TBS championship in Texas.
Oh, so you think it's Athena and not Billy?
No, I think we got a long time between now and All In. I do think
Billy will get her shot, but not win.
I don't think Billy's taking the title. I think Athena's going to be the one to come in and take that title from her, and I think she does it at All In.
And we get to watch it in person, which will be sweet.
I think we're in for a pretty special show.
Our former co-host Daryl Bullock chatting in 1 inch should have co-main evented. Against who, Daryl? Against who?
I don't know about that.
The face plant on that was kind of rough, but on the Angels Wings.
Look, it was a stiff ass Angels Wings. I didn't have a problem with it. Look, had we all shut off the pay-per-view after the steel cage match ended, this would have been an all-timer AEW pay-per-view. Arguably one of the best AEW pay-per-views of all time. Unfortunately, there was a match that took place after the cage match, and we got to end up talking about that shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
Steven in the chat here. Momo needed help. Yeah. Momo's one of those several wrestlers that got a little bit banged up from the pay per view, which is Matt was suspecting that might be why we know nothing about Dynamite coming up.
no, it's
This Wednesday.
exactly why we don't know anything about Dynamite right now. They have to assess the health of their roster right now,
And
they'll book who's healthy and who's not at this point.
And I'll be at Dynamite a week from Wednesday. Dynamite and Collision taping, so that'll be a lot of fun. It'll be my first Dynamite taping. I've been to one Collision before, so pretty excited for that. Next up is the number one contenders match between Ricochet and Swerve Strickland. I think Ricochet has been doing a hell of a job as a heel, and this has been on one of those another feud that's been on fire. Another feud that they've done a great job with here between Swerve Strickland and Ricochet, involving the embassy robe within this here. Shortly into the match, Nana flips off everybody, I guess, including Swerve, which did make sense to me, Matt. Did it? Like, he could have just grabbed the rope at that point.
I said it to be. I tweeted out at the beginning of the match. I'm like, instead of dancing around, your robe that you care so deeply about is hanging right there on the corner post, unguarded. Why didn't you just run over and grab it right at the beginning of the damn match?
It didn't make any sense.
So, yeah, a lot of what they had Nana do in that match was kind of odd to me, but I mean the story still played out how it should have in the end.
Yeah,
and the match was incredible. They crushed it. Swerve got the big win, the deserved win, and hopefully he's going to become a two-time AEW World Champion at Dynasty next month.
You're hoping. I'm predicting but you're hoping.
I'm hoping.
And then we got to see Ricochet hit the 630, something he made famous in Lucha Underground when he was Prince Puma. One of the few guys who could do a 630. That is insane. A 450 is insane enough, but to do another rotation is just godlike, which Ricochet is. It'll be interesting to see where Ricochet goes from here, because he has been such a good heel. So hopefully we get another good program with him, because the program with Ricochet has just been so damn good, or with Swerve has been so damn good, and Ricochet is such a great talent. And when they brought up Samantha on Dynamite, I thought she was going to be involved in that Ricochet side of this match.
If I had to guess, I'd say she has an extensive non-compete.
Not your WWE. Typical 90-day.
No, probably something more along the lines of what Renee had.
6 months or 9 months, wasn't it?
I think she had like something for like a year or more. And I'm not saying she does, but I'm just saying, like, if she was under contract and she left, then she probably has some kind of non-compete. But if her contract just expired, I mean, nothing would be preventing her from doing whatever she wants. I believe she left while she was still under contract. Because as an employee, you can do that. You can't do that as an independent contractor. Like the roster can't do that. But as an employee to the company, if you can be under a deal and be like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
And, and you could quit. But independent contractors don't have that luxury, unfortunately.
No. Steven Chambers in the chat. What's next for Hangman after beating MJF? I think we'll probably.
I'll tell you my top matches for All In right now. At least I will tell you my top 4 matches.
We got Dynasty still, don't we?
Yes, but I'm looking straight ahead to their biggest show of the year. I will tell you what AEW's top 4 matches should be at All In right now. You want to go? You want to hear it?
Go for it.
AEW World Championship, Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay versus Hangman Page, 3-way. TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné, Athena. Then you do Omega and Okada, unifying the 2 championships that they have. And you do Moxley and Darby in some kind of plunder match to pay off the storyline without a championship involved. Those are your 4 top matches for me at All In. And if you don't want to do Darby and Mox, maybe you bring Danielson back and let him beat Mox.
Yeah.
But by that point, Mox shouldn't have the damn title. And
Yeah,
I am booking for an All In without Moxley holding the AEW World Championship.
right now I just don't feel like Swerve's going to beat him this
Then
time.
let Ospreay beat him at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, I forget
Like,
Double or Nothing's in between that. Jesus.
Yeah, like this needs
So
needs
now
to
I don't think.
happen.
Okay, yeah, I forgot Double or Nothing is in between that still too. So yeah, now I don't think Mox is holding that till All In now.
And there's no
But
pay per view. There's no pay per view in June, right?
I don't
It
think so.
It goes Double or Nothing to All In, right?
To All In.
Or am I wrong?
I don't know. Let me look real quick. But I forgot all about Double or Nothing being in May. So
Yeah, Memorial Day
that changes
weekend.
my mind a little bit more on the fact that that changes my mind a little bit more of him holding it all the way till
Yeah.
then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
If there was no pay per view between Dynasty and All In, like I would be
yeah.
petrified that Moxley was walking into All In with that
Double or
title.
Nothing is
But
mid-May, or Double or Nothing is at the end of May.
Yeah.
So, and All Ends in mid-July. So I'm gonna not be able to see Double or Nothing live because I got a DJ a wedding that night. So I'll have to try to avoid spoilers and watch it on Memorial Day.
People digging my card, man.
Yeah. Yeah, text that card to Tony. No, keep all caps in there. Fuck it.
Like that's to me, those are your 4 top matches that you can book out the undercard however you want. You could do Hurt Syndicate versus the Young Bucks. I think that would be awesome. Or hell, at that point you could do Edge and Christian against the Young Bucks. Like, who knows where this Cope and Christian storyline is going to head after what happened at the pay-per-view last night.
Well, we know it's going to end.
We feel at some point Cope and Christian are going to be a tag team.
No, Ozzy, I'll never get married, so it's definitely I'm DJing the wedding. I'm not getting married. I'm never going to get married, so.
Oh wow, let's leave that for a timestamp for your future.
Yeah, they're gonna tag, and obviously they're gonna win the tag titles at some point. Edge and Christian, Cope and Christian are gonna win the tag titles at some point. How they come about? Hell, I've seen some people talk about Edge turning heel and joining the Patriarchy, and they get the tag team titles that way. Because it's hard to boo the Hurt Syndicate right now. And I've seen people say that on Twitter that it's hard to boo the Hurt Syndicate right now. So you could have Edge and Christian.
Nobody's booing the Hurt Syndicate right now.
You could have Cope and Christian be heels in this against the Syndicate. So it's very possible. Moving on, let's see here. Next up is the AEW Continental Championship. Okada and Brody King, much like the Buddy Matthews match, a very physical match, but you knew that Okada was going to retain. It was still good. It didn't suck. And it's pretty cool.
It was great.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool.
Those two men beat the piss out of each other.
They did. Okada's chest was pretty red early on already. But yeah, the result was never in question here, though it was pretty cool to see Brody King in a singles match on pay-per-view. But obviously, we're heading to Okada and Omega. The AEW Tag Team Championships, the shortest match of the evening, only went 8 minutes and 8.5 minutes.
It was still too long.
And Matt thought it was still too long. I don't think this should have even belonged on a pay-per-view. This should have been a Dynamite.
It would have been fine as a 3-minute squash, and that's what it should have been.
Yeah.
The Hurt Syndicate should have went out and beat the ever-living piss out of the Outrunners. A dominant, kick-ass performance, and that's what it should have been. If you wanted a tag match with any time, they should have just faced the Murder Machines last night.
Yeah, MVP was right to get pissed off at those guys for letting the Outrunners get the upper hand.
Yeah, I'm sure the whole story of this is that the Hurt Syndicate took them lightly, and that's all well and good. But this should have been a masterclass in the Hurt Syndicate hurting people. That's what this match should have been.
Next up was a masterpiece that probably 90 to 95% of the crowd thought should have been the main event, and that was.
And I will say at this point, this is when Mox and Cope should have went on.
Yeah,
that at this point would swap Tony Mariah with Mox and Cope and do it that way. And my God, by the time you do those last 3 matches, everybody's going to forget about Mox and Cope and they're not going to give a shit.
Tony
and it could have been ranked as one of the greatest AEW pay-per-views of all time.
Tony took a Storm Zero pile driver onto the steps, which caused her to bleed viciously. Boy, did Tony bleed in this match. Then
they
broken
both
glass
bled
out.
quite a bit.
Then some broken champagne bottle glass kind of got into with some taped wrists. That was some blood sport shit right there. And then we even had some glass to the private areas as well. The shoe reveal, which got a nice pop from the crowd. All the way to the end when Storm hit the Storm Zero on the ramp and pinned Mariah, and it said on the video board, "The end." This was just
how perfect would that have been to go off the air with?
I know, man. I don't know why this was not. I mean, it wasn't even a long match, but man,
it was so good.
It could have been the last match. Easily could have been the last match. It didn't need to be long because they were bleeding the fuck. They were both bleeding like stuck pigs, as JR would say.
Wrestling that style, you can't go for a clinic length of a match.
No,
they packed so much into the matches that they had.
Yeah,
there's not one person on this planet that would have complained about this show overall had these two went on last.
And it was that table was well done. I did not realize that was a table, that Hollywood sign on the stage. It's like, man, whoever designed that,
that was very nicely done.
Yeah, I just thought that was like a wooden sign or something, and it was a table that was used. They did the old Bubba Bomb off the stage even at one point. That was like early in the match too, the old Bubba Bomb. But Blood and Guts now, I don't know. Right now there's not anything that's really outside unless you do a Death Riders.
Blood and Guts typically runs around sometime in June, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what their plan is.
I would assume Elite and Death Riders.
At this point, I don't see the vision. I don't see the vision for Blood and Guts at the moment. I don't see what the two teams are on the male or female side.
That's all I see.
I don't want to see the fucking Death Riders. But by June, I don't want the Death Riders to exist, let alone be involved in the Blood and Guts match. So
maybe that's where the Elite put them out for good. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
Yeah. Following that tremendous women's title match was the International Championship between Takeshita and Omega, which was, boy, talk about having to follow a great match while they followed it. Though this probably ranks third on my top 3 matches of the night. It's like a 1C basically to the 1A and 1B.
I would have a very hard time ranking last night's show.
Yeah.
In terms of top to look, I can tell you Mox and Cope are at the bottom. I can tell you the Hurt Syndicate match is right above that. And then after that, the rest of those matches,
Mox and Cope's
I love them all.
Mox and Cope's below the Hurt Syndicate and Outrunners?
Yes.
Wow.
Way below. The Mox and Cope are down here, and the Outrunners and the Hurt Syndicate are here.
That's high praise considering you don't like the Outrunners.
On the bottom and next to the bottom.
That's high praise considering you hate the Outrunners.
Can't stand them.
Yeah, you got a T-shirt of them, so.
It's still sitting in the All Elite crate box. I ain't ever wearing it.
I'm gonna wear it. I might wear it Wednesday. Fuck it.
You better.
They're not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday.
I knew what you meant. You better not. You have enough AEW shirts. You better not go to that show wearing a fucking Outrunner shirt.
I'll probably wear my Rated R shirt.
That's perfectly acceptable.
I'll wear whatever's clean. We'll go with that too.
Do some damn laundry, JB.
The Outrunner shirt's clean because I haven't worn it yet, and I did wash it though. Yeah, I would go.
It's still sitting in my crate box.
I would go Steel Cage match 1, Tony Mariah 2, international championship 3 is how I'd rank it. But it's almost like a
It's
1A,
hard.
1B, and a 1C in
It's
my
hard,
opinion.
man.
They were all great.
I wouldn't even want to. I loved the rest of the card so much. I wouldn't even want to rank them.
Omega and Takeshita, it's no surprise. I mean, they've known each other for so long. You knew that they were going to tell a very good story, and they did. And it was time for, after 13 months away, Omega finally has gold again. These guys went about a half an hour, and it was tremendous. It was a story well told.
It was a master class in storytelling.
It was a bad night. It was a bad night for Don Callis.
Fuck Don Callis.
It was a bad night for Don Callis. I loved Tony's sarcastic remark to Don. Are you okay? That was so good. Oh, but yeah, it was an amazing match. It's hard to, you say you're right. It's hard to rank them because they all could easily have been a top match of a pay-per-view at any time.
Yeah.
In a vacuum by itself. But
there were so many matches on this show that I absolutely loved.
MK says he wants the shirt. He wants the Outrunner shirt.
Maybe we'll do a giveaway for it at some point. I don't know.
MK, does this get 5 stars from Uncle Dave? I bet you those 3 matches get at least 5 stars.
I think at that point when he sent it, that was referring to Tony and Mariah.
Oh yeah.
I would like to think it will, but I'm not holding my breath.
I know he's going to give Omega to Kesha and Ospreay and
he might he might break the 5-star scale for those 2.
Yeah,
matches.
he might give a 6.
He might break out the 6 and 7 stars for those.
He might get maybe go up to a 5 3/4. I don't know if he'll go quite to 6, but yeah, you don't know. MK saying the pre-show was better than Mox and Cope. So
where's the lie?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ozzy wants me to wear the Outrunner shirt to Dynamite next week.
Don't listen to Ozzy.
So we got to follow up those 2 matches. Where do we take a breath? Well, not in the next match because that's a steel cage match between Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. Tremendous scene to start the match as both men are standing on the corner of on top of the steel cage. That was a very cool scene there.
Will Ospreay scared me half to death in this match, man.
What point?
When they were up there on the top to do the Spanish fly.
Oh, the Spanish fly.
And I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, oh my God, Ospreay, I want to see you at All In. Do not fucking injure yourself here. Please, for the love of God, don't injure yourself. And I was so happy that it wasn't the most clean looking Spanish fly I've ever seen, but they looked like they both landed okay. And I was just like, thank God.
Well, when you're landing,
I was so worried because after what happened to Copeland off the cage, like when you're going up there in AEW, I'm scared. I was scared. I was very scared for Ospreay at that moment.
When you're 15 feet in the air and it's higher than WWE's cage.
It's definitely taller than the WWE cage.
You don't know how to perfectly time one revolution. They thankfully did. I mean, Kyle landed flat on his back. Ospreay pretty much landed on, they pretty much did a full turn as you do on a Spanish fly, which was, thank God. Of course, Mark Davis coming out with a bag full of goodies. I thought he was going to turn on Fletcher and the way that he was being treated on the Dynamite before by Callis. Made sense, but no, he is sticking with the Don Callis
He
family.
Needs to be there for the Aussie Open lore, because without him and Kyle, what is there for? Honestly, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to be mean, but what is there for Mark Davis to do as a singles competitor? He's a tag team guy. He's one half of Aussie Open. He needs to stay aligned with Fletcher for him to remain relevant in AEW. That it has to be that way, unfortunately.
Take a Dynamite. I'm just hoping they don't take the next week's Dynamite off because I'm going to be there. They could take this week's Dynamite off. That's fine.
Well, look, I'm not saying. Look, I'm saying I wouldn't foresee either of them wrestling this Wednesday, but I would like to see Ospreay on the show.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So we got a barbed wire bat inside the bag. Mark Davis himself gets busted open. thanks to Ospreay hitting him with the cage door. And of course, Mark Davis breaking up a pin too as well. Man, this was just insane. And then they're on top of the cage, and he hits Fletcher in the skull with the screwdriver. That led to the Spanish Fly. Then that led to the hidden blade and the move that he vowed he would never do, but now he does it against his hated rivals, the Tiger Driver 91. And Will Ospreay got the pin. This was my match tonight, but again, like I said, 1A, 1B, 1C. These three matches together. God, can you show me three matches together that literally were 4.5, 5-star matches in a row on a pay-per-view?
Honestly, nothing that comes to mind right now. I'm sure there is some point that it's happened, but at this moment in time, not that I can think of.
After the cage match was the wet fart moment, and I'm not even talking about the main event. It was the actor from the Queen of the Ring telling us that wrestling's fake.
She misspoke.
I know, but it was still bad.
It was bad, but she did.
It was bad. Bad.
She didn't say what she meant to say. Like, it happens. It was an unfortunate thing that took place. Nobody looked good coming out of it, but
nope.
She misspoke. That's not what she meant. You know, like Camille talked about it on her Instagram today. So just people need to chill out. It's not
Tony
that big
Schiavone
of a
looked
deal.
quite uncomfortable there for that moment. And then Excalibur popped when she said that too. You hear him popped or gasped or both, one of the two. Main event time, Mox and Cope. I tell you what, coming off those three, it is very hard to follow. Crowd was absolutely dead for this. But as Matt said, if you would have put this, I would have put this right before Hurt Syndicate, and I would have
done it right after the Hurt Syndicate match.
Fuck, I would have just let off with the match. Let's just bookend with title matches. Lead off with this. Crowd would have been a lot more.
You can't lead off with this because then you don't have this moment with Swerve afterwards. Swerve has to become number one contender first.
That's true. That's true.
That's why I say put it in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
Because you can't say, well, your world championship can't be in the middle of the show. Well, the women's world championship was in the middle of the show, so I think it's okay.
Right. What are your thoughts on Christian holding that contract for so long, only for him to lose it?
They made Christian Cage look like the dumbest motherfucker on God's green earth.
They should have.
Christian Cage has always been portrayed as a smart, calculated character. He's always thinking 3 steps ahead. They made him look like a fucking moron last night. Copeland hits 3 spears on Mox, goes for the cover. All intents and purposes is winning the AEW championship. Let the pinfall happen. Then you come out and you attack Copeland with the little metal case. You sign, and then you have your title match.
They should have given him the pin when he was in the choke and put one finger on Cope. They should have counted the 1, 2, 3.
That would have been a tremendous moment.
That should have, yeah. And then you have Swerve attack.
Because that might have been one of the most unique finishes I had ever seen.
I thought that was it. I thought after he tried to pin him, I think, and then Mox picked him up.
Because Cage hit him with the spear, but Copeland kicked out.
But I think Christian attempted 2 pins. I think Christian attempted 2 pins while in the choke, but he was more on top.
The second time he tried to reach for him, he couldn't get there before he passed.
Yeah, he did the finger. I think he was on top of him when he was getting choked, and the ref was counting, and then Mox picked him up. And when Mox picked him up, he put the finger on him. And I think when he put the finger on him, that should have been the 1, 2, 3, because that would have been a very clever finish. It all would have been forgotten by people saying crowd was dead and everything for this match.
If you had to close the show with this match, it should have resulted in Jon Moxley no longer being AEW champion. That was the play. That's what needed to happen. And I don't understand why Tony Khan's security blanket has become a hindrance for this company. Because every time AEW has been in trouble for the last 5 years, Tony's turned to Jon Moxley. And that's worked in the past. Yeah. It's not working right now. The Death Riders, the whole Death Rider storyline is a dud. It sucks. It hurts the AEW weekly programming. It needs to end. And the fact that you couldn't put this title on Copeland or Cage last night blows my fucking mind. No excuse. And now there's people believing that Swerve's not going to win the title of Dynasty either.
I'm believing
then you damn well better put the fucking title on Ospreay at Double or Nothing. Do not let this man carry this title into All In. Don't fucking do it. You want to sell more tickets to fucking All In than you have right now. And I know you do. You ain't doing it with Moxley on top because people are pissed. Because I'll tell you an example right now. I got to tell you right now. Dynamite's in Baltimore 3 days after Dynasty. I planned on buying tickets for that show today with the idea that Jon Moxley would no longer be holding that championship. And he is. Here's the deal. I love when AEW comes to my town, and I go to every show I can. But if Swerve doesn't win that AEW World Championship in Dynasty, and you're coming to Baltimore 3 days later, guess who's not going to your show, Tony? I'm not going. I'm going.
Sure he'll miss you too.
Yeah. Look, but if I think that way, how many other fans are thinking the same way? That they don't want to give AEW their money because they're sick of this Jon Moxley Death Rider bullshit.
So if they wait till All In, it's gotta be Hangman.
I
think Hangman's taking it off him. If they wait till All In, if they don't, I don't know how much. I mean, obviously Ospreay's talking about
the three ways to play.
Yeah,
with Ospreay, Swerve, and Hangman, that's the match for the World Championship.
Now I'm hearing some things about. I'm hearing some things about Hangman and Swerve eventually working together. Do you see that play at all?
Well, they teased Hangman going to apologize to Swerve several weeks ago on Dynamite, but Swerve wasn't in his locker room.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to end up at that point, but
could we see an Omega? Was that Omega and Hangman that won the tag titles way back when?
Yes, Hangman and Omega were the tag team champions. They were the second champions. They beat SCU for those titles, and they had that killer match with the Young Bucks at the first Revolution.
If we put the title on Ospreay, eventually you got to wonder maybe they do make up, and maybe that is the legit either them or the Bucks or one of the two legitimate options to dethrone the Hurt Syndicate. Do you think Tony's ever going to push Bobby into main event status by himself? Because you got Cedric Alexander coming in eventually, probably. Do you ever think
I would certainly hope Cedric's coming in. I hope so.
Do you think Bobby will be in the main title picture ever in AEW?
I think at some point. I don't see any reason why he can't be, as long as the Hurt Syndicate remains on the level of over that they are right now. When they eventually drop those tag titles, I could absolutely see Lashley in the world title picture, because it's not like Lashley needs to eat the pinfall. Like, no offense to Shelton, but Shelton can eat the pinfall. He's already eaten pinfalls in AEW before, so I mean it's realistic to say that he could be Lashley could be neutralized on the outside and they could get the pin on Benjamin. Like, it's not outside of the realm of possibility. And then you let Lashley go after, a bigger title. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be the world title, but I absolutely see Bobby Lashley holding singles gold in AEW at some point. I think it would be insane for him not to.
Looking forward to Monday Night Raw here tonight in about 5 minutes or less. What are your thoughts on Io Sky beating Rhea Ripley on Monday last week?
I guess they really wanted Io Sky in a marquee match at WrestleMania. I believe this is still going to be a triple threat. I believe Rhea will find her way back to the match. I think the storyline with Rhea giving Io this title shot when she didn't have to will come back into play. I think Io will return the favor and bring Rhea into the match, or grant her a rematch, or something along those lines, and
Bianca may cause a
will lead
disqualification.
to a triple threat at
Yeah.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, you could have Bianca cause a DQ there and set up the triple threat that way. We are at Madison Square Garden tonight. CM Punk, Seth Rollins in a steel cage.
Good luck following last night's cage match, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee take on the New Day in a tornado tag match. AJ Styles is to calling out Logan Paul and Jey Uso. Main event, Jey Uso. Yeet. Goes one-on-one with Grayson Waller. There you go. Yeet. That's going to do it for this edition of Lost in the Midcard. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned to our socials at JB Huskers at Raw of Showtime. If I get back in town early enough, we will do a show, but I will keep you posted early in the day next Monday. And with that said, we are on the road to WrestleMania. It is just a hair over a month away. So that's next in our preview, along with a Dynasty, which will be just before WrestleMania. So it's going to be a very action-packed April. Enjoy tonight. Enjoy the week. Have a great one.